Hey, 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 it's me, MC of Healthy by George. So I'm coming on here to talk about, sort of out loud, what it is that I'm deciding to do after 3 years of being on Mounjaro. I want to lose 10 to 15 more pounds because, at 5'2" and 195, that's not going to cut it for my joints. And I really truly want to be the healthiest version of who I am. I want to be strong. I want to be as flexible as I can. And frankly, I feel so grateful that Manjaro has helped me lose 55 pounds over the past 3 years. It has been slow and steady until recently. And I think, I'm working towards what I should do next. I'm seeing a clinician at the end of August, and I'm seeing my endocrinologist in September. And I really just am contemplating out loud what I want to do going forward after 3 years. So I'm really not lecturing or making a suggestion, but perhaps you have to think out loud too about what your choices are. Maybe you would like to go on a GLP-1 drug, or maybe you've been on one for a little while and you've plateaued. I've been there. And I totally feel I know what that feels like. I plateaued back in, what was it? I think May. And so May, June, July, I tried to go up to the 15 milligrams, and man, that was rough. I really didn't have a easy time of the 15 milligrams. The side effects were really, really tough. I had really challenging heartburn and indigestion, and nothing seemed to make it go away. So now my contemplation is, what's next? I would like to lose another 10 or 15 pounds, but I really don't want to do it at the risk of losing muscle mass. Because really, at my age and for the next 2 years, it's going to be critical to focus on my muscle mass, focus on my strength, focus on, oh my gosh, eating that protein, which isn't so easy. I need to eat 100 grams of protein or more. Like, I should be eating somewhere between 110 and 115. But that's not simple. I'm good at maybe sometimes getting to 90, and I've added protein drinks. I'm doing the Fairlife. It's 30 milligrams of protein. And I bought something that's a vegan type of protein, which is called Truvani. And I just, I want to be able to have more protein, but I just don't eat the protein. And I've been fluctuating, and I'm not sure why. And I think that's why I want to see my endocrinologist. Sometimes when I've had my medicine, I will have no hunger whatsoever. It will be like, plateau. I'm sort of eating out of a habit, so that I'm eating something in the morning and something at lunch. And typically, like today, I'm eating a very small amount. I had soup and cheese toast for dinner, very boring. So I don't have much appetite in the evening. But Friday, I was ravenous. Oh my God, I was so hungry. I was at that place where, you get this pit in your stomach that feels like a gnaw when you're that hungry. I don't like that feeling. So I want to talk to my endocrinologist, because now might be the time that I go down on my metformin. So, this is all things that we have to think about as we are moving forward with our health and wellness. Like, what are the medicines I want to stay on? What are the medicines I need to cut back on? I also have to think, as these medicines are getting more and more interesting, like the new drug retatrutide. It's a triple agonist, and frankly, the weight loss that they have shown in the recent research that's come out is remarkable. 20 to 28% of weight loss, which is more than Manjaro, and it's a triple agonist, which, I'm not quite sure. Perhaps that would be something that would give me fewer side effects. I'm not sure. I also wonder too if there's some reason that when you plateau with these drugs, maybe your system has gotten kind of used to it, and so it's not novel anymore to your eating and your, thinking, but I don't know. I think these are all things that we have to understand because truthfully, as I go up in the dose of mounjaro, I know the possibility is the faster you lose weight, the more it may cost my muscle mass. And I don't want that. I want to maintain muscle. In fact, I was so excited when I got on the scale today and I looked at, the muscles with the Hume band because it measures my muscles and lean muscle mass and my fat. It showed for the first time in a long time that my left muscles were the same as my right muscles, which that was new. So I liked seeing that, and I want to continue to see myself improve with lean body mass and reduce the, fat mass in my body. And this is a wonderful tool. I don't know how accurate it is. I mean, it's good enough to kind of encourage me, which is why I like using it. But the truth is what do I do next as I am, approaching the fall? Things are harder to exercise, although I have promised myself to do the 10 to 15 minutes of the exercise snack. I can't wait to share the episode with you because really that's what works for me. I'm not one of those people who likes to get dressed up and head to the gym for 45 minutes. And here in New York, it's at least 30 minutes one way and 30 minutes. So going to the gym is a 2-hour investment. I don't like that too much. But I think sharing where I'm at and contemplating what will work for me and how to continue to build muscle, reduce my overall weight for the size of person that I am, maintain my health. I want to do this over the next, we have what? Wow, it's hard. 4.5 more months remain in 2026. That's unbelievable. So I really truthfully do want to optimize whatever it is. So I might try the 15 milligrams for a month, but I don't know. I'm gonna sleep on it because truthfully, those side effects at 15 milligrams were daunting. I really, really was challenged with the heartburn from that darn drug. It was rough, and nothing I did helped, period. So, I want to be someone who is up and thinking. I do want the resistance training. I do commit to that 2 to 3 times a week. I do want to stay on this medication because I do think it helps me, especially with my thinking. It really moves the food kind of focus away from me, and which is really helpful. Although giving up sugar this past several months has kind of pushed me a little bit on my emotional eating, but I kind of like that because it challenges me to understand more about things for my coping when I'm triggered for emotional eating. And frankly, less sugar is never a bad thing. And focusing on sugars that are more nutrient dense, like fruits and roasted vegetables, those are nice. I think those are things that I'm working towards. You can start to really taste the sweetness in plain yogurt after you've not had any refined sugar after, now 40, I'm almost 50 days now. So I have to say, all of these things are things as a health psychologist I'm contemplating. And for me, it's looking at this research too. How can I understand what the long-term impacts of being on these drugs will be for myself? Is this something where I'm going to have to be on these drugs probably for the rest of my life? Or is it something that if I can really build muscle in my body and strength, that I can maybe go down to a microdose? I don't know. These are all things I think we still don't know enough about. And that's why I'm so curious as to what to do next and why I want to have these conversations with my clinicians so that a smart choice can be made. I mean, I'm so thrilled to see what's changed. And the idea of lessening how much metformin I'm taking is very appealing. And frankly, that's a big deal. I mean, I've come off of one medicine, I've come off another medicine. Yes, I'm gonna be looking at my cholesterol levels towards in the next couple of weeks when I see my general practitioner, which I'm crossing my fingers that some of the lifestyle modifications I've made have kind of lowered the cholesterol back underneath the border of normal. So you know, getting older and recognizing that things will change is part of the process. But I do want to put in things that are good practices for me, no matter what, that become automatic. Just like the issue of doing 6 days to get where, letting go of refined sugar is automatic. It's not something that I want to reach for first. Or if I do in the future, after I complete my 90 days, I plan it. I would plan getting myself a favorite treat instead of allowing myself to just casually have a treat every other week. I don't think that's something I want to go back to. I really, really have loved how tasty food has become because I've given up these refined sugars. But I guess how do I get to the next step is the challenge. How do I get where I'm below 190? That's the goal. I would love to be below 190 pounds as it gets closer to the end of the year. And I know that this is going to go slow. Okay. I'm used to slow. But I don't want it to stop. I want to go slow, yes, but I don't want it to just stop. I want to see something moving, whether it's increase in muscle mass or a decrease in fat. And if the weight on the scale stays the same, fine. But I'm on the fence about going back up to the higher dose because it was so awful to do the side effects, frankly. And it does make me curious about this new drug, retatrutide. Retatrutide. But you know what? It's not going to be available until 2027. And if you're someone who's contemplating that maybe you'd like to think about in the future when this retatrutide comes out, it might be the time that you make the decision that you would like to try GLP-1 drugs. That's not a bad idea because this drug looks extraordinarily promising. And I knew for me and I'm not sure why, I looked at Ozempic and I looked at the drug Saxenda that I had used before. I knew that that wasn't gonna work for me. I knew that mounjaro and the research that I read was something that would be more in alignment with what would help me in losing weight. So, I'm thrilled. I've gotten better with my blood pressure. I've gotten better with my heart health. And now I just want to get better with my muscle health and my fat health because what's so disturbing is when you're on this Hume band, what's hard is that it tells you if you're failing at your body mass. And it gives me an F minus because, for my height and my weight, it's not very positive. Even though it's not really measuring where I've come from, it definitely is letting me know that I'm not in the right frame yet. But it does give me some encouragement when I see some of the things pulled together that I do recover well when I do exercises and if I get sufficient sleep. So the two things I'm really working on is strength training and improving my strength. I mean, my sleep. I'm just not good at sleeping. Sleeping is a huge challenge. So I'm going to try tonight to drink one of those AGZs. It's a chocolate mix that's made by a company that makes Athletic Green, AG1, that all these individuals talk about. It's a little granny tasting for me. I'm not crazy about it, but I'm gonna try and put it in almond milk and see if it'll be a little more pleasing. I don't know. I'm so picky. I don't like textures that feel like you're drinking fiber. It's not pleasant, right? I mean, come on. If we're gonna eat or drink something, we want it to at least be tolerable, right? Well, I just wanted to jump on here tonight, and I'm going to start trying to go live on Sundays to just share about what is happening in the world of research and health and aging. What am I contemplating? I would love to hear what you're thinking of doing and how you're contemplating your process of growing older. Because truthfully, as I think about it, it's more about how purpose driven we are. And I'm very driven by a software that I've developed that's for chronic pain. And that means if you are interested and need more information about chronic pain, please check out my website. I have a free ebook for chronic pain. It mentions all the things that don't involve pills, and it's free for the first 50 people to download. I would love to give it to you. And then I think if you then share that with, and they get a reduced fee for it, or if they still are free, please jump on. Please check out my website and see under the link, I'll share the link in the notes, that you can access this ebook for chronic pain. I really want to have things, the behavioral, that are, alternative and complementary types of treatments. There's so many things out there. This red light therapy is all the rage. And the research is very promising. I think that's what I just adore about this information about red light therapy. I just wish it wasn't so expensive. That's the one thing. And so I'm just, using the place down the street where I can purchase 10 or 15 minutes and go in. But at some point, I may bite the bullet and buy a red light device like some of my friends have done. This just makes me frustrated that so many of these things are not available if you are in a lower income bracket, or you're just trying to maintain your finances in this crazy world we're living in with tariffs and $5 a gallon for gas, and our food is so expensive. It's amazingly challenging to see how expensive things are. So all I know is that please think of subscribing. Please join me here each week to share, to be encouraging, to know that we always can do something to make us the very best version of who we are, so that we can continue to be a thriving individual into our 80s and 90s. So if you're thinking about your weight or your health as you're getting older, and how can do things that are going to help you? I think that we can share the things that I'm exploring, and I can always give you the research on it if there's something that you would like to explore, because I'm a curious soul and I love to learn. I find myself wanting to learn every single day. It's my habit. I love learning. It's my passion to keep learning and to keep growing and to stay curious. It's something that I think that's always been a natural part of who I am. So be well, my friends. You have this one precious life. Live it to the fullest. And please like and share and subscribe and join me every Sunday evening, and we'll talk about something that's important to you. I think what I'm going to talk about next Sunday is more about the ebook, and share at least a few pages about the research related to red light therapy. Okay, friends, I'll see you next time. Be well. Bye bye.